Because you're saying like you're always getting these. You thought it was just a spider bite from the farm.
Yeah, well, I thought like a few spiders. I definitely thought at some stage there's a spider in my car because it makes the most sense that I keep getting bit by a spider. Because then I had like one here and here, and like two on my leg, and I was like, this motherfucker is bugging me out.
But there's spiders that actually do that, and there is even in Pretoria. We had a mate that stayed in what's the biggest state? I think Silver Lakes in Pretoria, and he was playing golf, and a spider bit him, and he was hospitalized. And then he came out of hospital, and he was playing golf again like 3 weeks later, and a fucking spider was chasing him, like literally like chasing him down the fairway. So the spider that bit him, apparently, where your skin dies from the poison, when that same species smells that, it fucking goes for you again. So it wants to fucking charm you all the time.
That's a
Staph spider.
That was a puss spider. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that spider's being an asshole. I don't know why you want to do that.
Cock spider. I don't. Spiders. I'm already like, not for me, Paul. Anyways, Mr. Duplessis, back from the UAE. Welcome home, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Yeah, I can imagine it's going to be even sweeter with a nice UFC knockout on the debut.
Yeah, can't really get any better than that.
Interesting.
Unless you got the 50 Gs, that would have been better.
That would have been great. But I mean, I really would have gotten it. I was like sitting there getting it, and then I looked at the fight card and I'm like, well, can everybody stop? Just knocking everybody out. I was like, jeez.
If
and
you
I
guys
looked
could
at
stop
the
kicking
knockouts,
people in the face.
and I was like, cool. Even before, like on my fight, they gave out 4 performance bonuses. So I was like, I'm definitely gonna get one of them. And then Sandhagen came with his spinning heel kick on.
Yeah,
and, I'm like, and I was just like,
douchebag.
Yeah, cheery up.
Thanks. No 50 Gs for me.
Thanks for stealing my money, bro.
Yeah, yes.
What a dickhead.
Sandhagen looked like a man possessed, though. Eh?
Oh,
jeez, like
so good.
Bro, how weird was that kick though? It almost looked like it landed like with a car.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was the heel straight.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to beat him. I thought Moraes was going to beat him.
Yeah.
I thought Moraes was going to beat him.
Well, the thing is with Mirage, as long as you can get past the first, then you got a decent chance.
Well, I think it's something you guys can attest to, and like a lot of the guys I've been listening to have been saying that it's once you've been broken like that, like Moraes was against Henry Cejudo, like that's it. Like your career is gonna get a whole lot harder because now everyone knows that like, well, if we can pressure this dude for long enough, fuck, he's gonna just fold. You know what I mean? Like the pressure's just gonna become too much.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want people. I mean, you can say that with Conor. Everybody like the first time he gassed out against Diaz, people were like, cool. This is how you fight him.
Yeah.
Just you don't engage with him in the beginning. He's too slick. He's too fast. Make sure you get it to round number 3, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, 100%. Well, what was the? I mean, I know you spoke about it quite a lot in the beginning about how the short notice and how did it all come about? Because before all of that, there was the whole KSW situation. Maybe we can talk about that, how it started and how it led to actually getting that phone. I'm guessing the phone call came from your management, like, look, we're here.
So basically, I was training. It was a Monday because I was prepping for November. I was starting my camp for November's fight at light heavy, and my manager, I had 2 missed calls from him, which is weird because for that time of day we speak in the evenings or what.
Yeah.
And I phoned him back immediately while I was training. I was at a strength and conditioning session, and I just went on WhatsApp and I saw he messaged, hey, like it's important, phone me, and I phoned him in the middle of the session. I'm like, yo, what's up? And he said, listen, there's somebody injured. Will you be able to take a fight? Will you be able to take a fight on middleweight?
Yeah.
How's your weight? And I'm like, yeah, no, I'll be able to make it. At that stage, I didn't really know if I'll make it. I was like, I'll give my best to make it. And he said, cool, they might have a short notice fight. And I said, well, that's like I said, was, listen, I mean, short notice, how long do I have? Like, I'll go home right now, pack myself, let's get out of here. And he was like, no, it's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I mean, that's insane. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, well, they just wanted to know if you are willing to take the fight. It's not set in stone yet.
Okay.
Somebody is injured, and they're going to decide who they're going to put in. They just asked if you are willing to take the fight. And I said, well, definitely willing to take it. And it was a day or 2 after. No, it was the next day. They said, it's official, we have to fight. And yeah, I mean that was it. And immediately, we've been working with KSW for a while now to get to a solution of getting my release signed, and we went to I'm gonna pay them this and they were like, no, this, and I was like, no ways, I'm not paying you that. And then we came to like, listen, now we have to pay them. And I was like, cool. And I paid them a percentage of this fight purse, just for this one fight. Nice percentage. I mean,
so if anyone's feeling like dropping Dricus a free meal, thanks to
that would be great.
yeah.
And well, I mean, it was. I mean, that was what we needed to do, and I was happy to do it. I mean, it was great to be able to do it, and get this opportunity in the UFC. And I mean, I didn't even think twice about doing it. As soon as I got the call, that's how it went. And I mean, from there, I didn't even really have time to think about it or how it's going down. And then a few days went by, and I realized I don't know who I'm fighting. I didn't know. I never asked. And I was like, because when I said Monet, like, I didn't say anything when I said potential. I only said something when I knew it was on.
Yeah.
And Monet was on the farm that day, so I couldn't reach him. There's no signal. He came back on the Thursday. So I haven't told him. And I went to him and I'm like, yeah, I'm fighting. And he's like, who? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm like, what? And I never asked my agent who am I fighting. And well, I mean, yeah, I got the opponent, and it was great because what I did do was I went to the card and I was looking at who they said got injured or where's the spot open. I didn't think it was going to be on the main card.
Yeah.
And they said that was the one fight that said to be announced.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it can't be that one. They're not going to give me the main card spot. Jeez, and yeah, that was the one. So I was like, that's so cool.
Just a bit of background. You went to the States, was it this year?
Yeah, it was January.
Yeah. And you obviously you met with your management company, and you went to the fights, and it's like one of those things. It's people. No one, like when people go to New Zealand or Australia, it's to look. They're not really going on holiday. And I'm like, well, Dricus is in the States with no fight, which to me means he's either shopping or something's going on or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this generally leads to a UFC signing, in my opinion, what I've seen. And then it emerged, the whole stuff with KSW, and there were plenty offers on the table. I believe there was PFL, there was all sorts of stuff.
Bellator, PFL. I mean, Resin wanted to get in on the action. There was, but the two main offers were, what's this one in North Africa as well? The
Aries.
Yes. So they wanted the big. At the end of the day, it was between Aries and PFL.
Okay.
Money wise, that was where I was.
So PFL's with the $1 million league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could have been sweet.
Yeah, that could have been sweet. Like that deal, it was so hard to say no to that deal. Jeez. Because, I mean, it was at light heavyweight. That's the problem. They didn't have a middleweight tournament this year. I mean, lucky that didn't work out for me because, they didn't have any fights this year.
Yeah. They like some of the fighters are talking about going into legal battle now because their contracts are, they're not getting fights, so, and they're not being released. So
so that's a problem. I mean, the big thing with their contract would have been if you win or if you're in the top 4, they immediately get a decision if they want to keep you for another year.
Yeah.
So for me, I was like, listen, later in my career, if I was at the end of my career, definitely would have taken that deal.
Yeah.
But I'm not in here for the money right now. I'm here to try and become a world champion in the UFC.
100%. So, how did it pan out? God, I've been dying to ask you this question. That you were actually considering going back to fight for a third title in the EFC.
So basically, what happened was. The whole thing with KSW obviously got a little bit personal, so I was like, doesn't matter. Yeah, it's a bigger stage, much more money, all that stuff, but no ways. The stuff they said, I was like, nah.
Sorry, you just shift this way.
Sorry.
No worries.
I'm not gonna fight for them if I mean, they say I'm not promotable, and I'm like, that's bullshit, man. Come on. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna fight you anymore because I can still fight anywhere else. Except for the UFC because that's an exclusive deal.
Okay.
So my KSW contract was a non-exclusive deal, but I can't sign anywhere else exclusive. So I was basically planning on fighting Resin Well, I mean, but the big problem was there was no traveling happening. There wasn't
Yeah.
really a chance. So that's why I just wanted to fight. So I was like, UFC, that's where I'm going to fight. That's the best option, the closest. It's probably going to happen the soonest. So let's get that fight. And I mean, obviously, my goal is getting the UFC as soon as possible. And I know they're looking. I speak to my agents. We spoke to them when I was there. I knew I was on the radar. Definitely, they were. I mean, they knew I was, and they knew everything. It was a matter of time until the situation comes where I can really. And then they spoke to us earlier this year about get the release forms from KSW. Then we can really look into you. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna get a fight. I'm not gonna sit here.
Yeah.
The smart thing was probably being just to wait it out. And I was like, no, I want to take a fight. And I was like, if I get this third weight division, that's firstly the coolest thing ever, and and I mean that will make an undeniable awesome UFC day with them.
Yeah.
That's gonna be, they won't look past that. So I mean that was what was behind the method behind the madness. Even though everybody was like, why?
Yeah, I was one of them.
Everybody was like,
I'd be like,
even
this is
Monet was
ridiculous.
like, why? And I was like, because I want to fight. That's why. I want to fight somebody and I want to do something awesome. I want to, I want to test myself. And I mean that was the only thing that really made sense. Not to take another fight at middleweight. That wouldn't have. Ooh.
Yeah.
So
Not much.
But don't you think fighting Brendan would have been a harder test than fighting Gideon?
no.
You think Gideon is a stronger test than Brendan?
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly believe so.
Also, like,
Yeah,
I can't.
listen, the thing is, at least, I don't know. I don't know. That would make for an interesting fight.
You think so?
I think so. But the thing is, I think Gideon has a better wrestling, grappling than, quite a lot better than Brendan has.
Yo, I tend to disagree. I think Brendan's got a way stronger grappling game than
Really?
Yeah, like significantly stronger
You see,
grappling game.
I mean, studying Gideon's fights was, I did see when he's on top, he's quite good. When he's on, well, he's quite heavy.
But
when
who
he's
did
on
he
top.
fight though?
That's exactly it. I mean, the first time, every time he really fought. I mean, if you look at a guy like Fraser Opie, I don't know how good he really was, but he was then a international guy coming in. And I mean, if you look at a guy like Donnie van Heerden, who's, you know, he's not. He was a good fighter in his era that he was fighting, and I mean, he was a strong guy. He was always big for the division. And Gideon and even Brendan Groenewald is a good grappler, and you know, Gideon beat him on the ground. He stayed on top.
Yeah.
And that showed me that. But the problem was Gideon's wrestling is not good. But when he's on the ground, he gets on top. He's quite heavy. So I think, geez, I don't know. You know, when I fought Brendan, I think the pressure got to him in that fight, definitely. Like, I think he knew he was out of his league very soon into the fight, because he was very stiff in that fight. Like, he's fought better than he's fought that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That wasn't his best outing.
No, he
I
didn't.
struggle to get behind especially an instant rematch if you finish someone. Like,
It doesn't make sense. No, 100%.
I suppose like the EFC landscape, you have to kind of be a little bit more
Lenient.
a little bit more lenient, a little bit more permitting of those kind of things. You know,
that
because
fight, no, I wouldn't have taken it.
Ultimately, you wanted Gareth to like get a win somewhere
I
and
mean,
then come back.
for me,
That would have been
ultimately,
the best option.
the best option would have been Gareth beating Brendan
Yeah.
and me getting the fight
Yeah.
against Big Gareth.
Yeah.
That would have been that was actually the ideal situation. I mean, Brendan shocked everybody with that knockout of Gareth, and I was like, well, no, I'm going to fight him. I'm going to fight him. I already said I would.
even to be honest, even I was advocating for it. I was like, fuck it, just let him fight Gareth. I think, who cares?
We've
Like,
done sillier things
you know,
in the UFC.
yeah, no,
You might
I'm
as well
saying,
keep going, yeah.
There was really a stage where we were like, I was like, can't you just say I'm just fighting Gareth?
Yeah, let's just do it.
He lost. Let's just fight him anyway.
Yeah, fuck it, let's just do it. Like, I mean, you want star power, you want fucking two biggest names. Let's do it. Like,
Yeah, that's-
fuck the records, dude.
Yeah,
I mean, like the UFC does all the time. They're like, Jose Aldo lost. Yeah, but he's gonna fight for the title anyway. Like,
Yeah, because we want him, he's gonna sell.
Yeah,
tickets.
exactly.
we think he won, so fuck it, we just
Yeah.
gonna go with it. Why, we should have 100% just done the same thing. We're like, yo, we know you won,
Yeah.
but
No, listen,
I
it
think
was.
Brendan would have fucking.
I think it would have killed someone.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I don't know. I think, but I mean, now thinking about it, that's actually quite an interesting match. Brendan and Gideon, that would be a cool fight.
Yeah.
Would
Well,
actually.
the crazy thing is, you would have been going out to light heavyweight, but I think you're bigger than Gideon.
Yeah, I'm bigger than Gideon.
Yeah, so I mean that's the craziness is that the former welterweight, current middleweight, goes up to light heavyweight. And he's the bigger
Yeah,
fighter.
that was exactly why the Gideon fight was so perfect, because I didn't want to be.
Gideon's middleweight debut.
I don't against Junaid Ebanks.
Yeah, it was against
That
Junaid
was his
in Cape
last
Town.
fight as well.
Was that his middleweight debut?
Yeah,
Dude,
And-
also like he.
that's the fight I watched. I watched that fight a lot. It's on.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think Gideon's a shit fighter, right?
No.
I think he's a decent fighter.
I think Gideon is
I-
a guy. He's just an inconsistent fighter.
Yeah,
Like-
I just think Brendan, like, if he can get the fight to his world, I think he's a stronger fighter, right? But Gideon's obviously had been successful over the years, barring that Norman Vessel's fight, because that was just
He got
So-
that was
so-
difficult to
destroyed.
watch. That was difficult
Listen,
to
but,
watch.
I mean, Gideon is. Let's be honest. He is not
Got
a
it.
light heavyweight.
No, 100%.
He's not even really a middleweight.
100%. I completely agree.
I think that was his recent problem, just being fit. He doesn't look fit in very many of his
Yeah, but I
fights.
mean, yeah, no,
With
exactly.
Gideon.
Well,
Like
exactly.
fighting you at light heavyweight in terms of just work rate would have been a disaster for him.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think.
That's exactly it. The cool thing, the thing was, I didn't want to go fight at light heavyweight and become 100 kg walk around weight, and
Yeah, 100.
because I mean that was never my end destination. It was just for this one fight. So that's why Gideon made so much sense for us when they said he's gonna fight for the interim belt. And I said I want that fight
Yeah.
because even Simon Beyong, I would fight him at light heavy because he's not a big light heavyweight.
yeah.
That would have been
That would have been a great fight.
Yeah,
That would have been
And
great.
that would have been a fucking risky fight for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
as
100%.
well.
He's a good fighter.
Yeah,
He's a great fighter.
Dude, why I wanted to pull this up was look at before people start saying I'm making assumptions. I'm not. All I'm saying is Gideon's body here looks completely different. Like he wasn't in 100% fighting shape, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, he
Maybe
looked a
I'm
lot,
wrong.
he,
Look,
he
I
looked
should
a
not
lot
be talking
better.
about
He
dudes'
looked,
bodies. I should not be talking about dudes' bodies. I know that for sure. But what I'm saying, just like an observation, like I remember him walking out to this fight, and I was like,
well,
You know
in
what I
this
mean?
in this fight specifically, he actually looked. This is the first time in a long time he did. Always, there's been fights, but there's been a lot of fights he didn't like the fight against. I think it was Warren Ellison.
that's the fight I'm
That's
talking
the
about,
fight.
not
That
this one.
fight
Warren
was-
Ellison. Yeah,
When
yeah,
he fought Warren, he walked out there and I was like, this guy didn't train for this fight.
That's the fight I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
because
Sorry,
in this
it's not
fight is
one.
actually a fight where I was like surprised at how good he looked for his first cut to middleweight. He looked good, and in the fight, it was a tough 3-round fight. It was a high-paced fight. Yeah,
You have to feel sorry for Warren Allison, right? He takes that Derrida fight, gets smashed, and you're like, oh, he didn't show up. But then you see Derrida go on and like smash everyone, continue
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
one
But
FC
listen,
champion, like
oh, Derrida's fighting the guy I train with a lot,
Ong
with
Sang
Angla.
Angla, yeah.
Angla Sang. Angla is gonna destroy him.
That looks
Let me tell you, Angla, I train with him.
He's like multiple champion in one
yeah,
FC.
he's a middle and light heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And he just beat Brandon Vera.
I know.
That's not that
And like
Brandon
didn't
Vera.
like just beat him, like smash
Yeah, he
that
said,
dude.
listen, I train with Angla. He's such a nice guy, but that guy is a shock, man. Jeez, that guy kicks. And I've seen Derrida being dropped with 2 body shots in his career, and listen, Angla hits the body and he kicks. And Derrida
He's got those Asian legs,
I
right?
don't-
It's just like
yeah.
one solid piece
No,
of
it's
steel.
like it's really this thick.
One
It's so
bamboo.
thick, but his
Giant
arms,
chopstick, bro.
everything is so thick on that guy. He's a machine.
Well, because there was a chance of you actually fighting Rene Derrida at a stage.
Yeah. I asked for that fight. Before I fought, just after Yannick. That was the fight I wanted. I wanted to fight Derrida, and then he signed with one because he's undefeated, but I didn't rate him.
He sat on the sidelines for long with the UFC as well. He was very frustrated, I remember.
But you got Henry's also got that in Nguyen, was also fighting on that same card,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, he's
Ben
fighting.
10.
Yeah,
He's
and,
also a savage.
yeah. There's a lot of good fighters there
Yeah.
at Sanford, right? And like so many good guys.
Yeah, this is a different shape Gideon Trotsky.
Yeah, and I mean, look at him at middleweight. He looks. I mean,
He doesn't look massive.
He
at
doesn't look.
middleweight.
He doesn't look massive at middleweight. Not at all. I mean, he's definitely. But I mean, I was saying, look at that. He looks much better here than light heavy.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like, if you see me at welterweight, you can see this guy. He died. making this weight. But he doesn't look like he died making this weight.
Yeah, for sure.
And look at him. He doesn't look big against the middleweight guy. And Janae's not a big middleweight.
No, dude.
So, I mean, it's just. I mean, some guys just carry their weight differently, but I know Gideon is not a heavy guy. He doesn't walk around heavy.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
And he's not like a massively thick dude or like a huge frame for like a light heavyweight.
Yeah. No, he's definitely. I think he's going to have much more success if he fights. Especially now. I mean, I obviously vacated the middleweight belt For him, it makes more sense to me to go fight, because I think Bedard, if they get it to the floor, I think Bedard beats
Oh,
Dricus.
yeah, wrap him up, dude.
Bro, listen,
You're,
for sure, pull up that
I
picture.
saw Zach the other day, dude. That oak looks.
Phew, that is a big mama
that
jabber,
oak
that
is
dude.
bodied up for a light heavyweight,
Jesus
dude.
Oh, he got
Christ.
ready.
He's
Jeez,
ready,
like
bro.
he got
He's
bodied up for this
fighting
fight,
for it.
dude.
Listen,
Lockdown's
the-
been friendly to.
Holy
And I used to
shit.
train with Zach. Zach's brilliant on the ground.
Yeah,
bro.
he's
Like,
going to go. The one thing I do see with him when he fights is he's still going for it from the word get-go.
yeah.
Soon, what's going to happen, he's going to get somebody that's going to be able to withstand that storm the first, let's say.
I think you've
3
typed
minutes.
bold that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there we
And
go.
if that happens, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble because like his stand-up's really not good.
Yeah.
And wrestling, not too great, but on the ground, he is phenomenal. Like the way
Yeah.
he moves, he's
Oh, he's like a
grounding.
legit black belt.
Yeah,
like.
yeah, you can see he is
Yeah.
really, really good on the ground.
Was that the picture? The picture we were looking at, was it on his story or something? Maybe.
I think that was on his brother's.
Whoo, damn.
No, wasn't it? Okay, I know it's risky going into the messages, but didn't we
Please
put?
don't.
We sent the message to each other,
No, we
right?
can't. This is not on the screen.
No.
It's not on the screen.
Yeah.
It's not on the screen. It's fine. It's not on the
I don't
screen.
remember that.
Just open it, bro.
Yeah, listen,
And
if
listen-
you-
Listen
Be
to
brave.
he'll murder most people on the ground, but have you seen him with guns as well?
yeah, he's one of those guys like
Dude's like AK-47s,
He's
AR-15s. He just fucks everything up, dude.
There's a video
Okay.
of him doing that diving shoot thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, the grape shot. Now he's gonna shoot a grape with an AK-47. I think.
Yeah, it's easy, bro. From like 300 meters away.
Oh my goodness.
well, I guess
dude.
at some stage you'll get it.
Jeez,
that's
that's 3
very-
meters.
Buzz it a shot.
Yeah, man, that
I think at,
that's
like
a good
at one
shot,
stage,
shit.
him and his brother were like top
proper.
3 marksmen in the country for
Really?
their category or whatever. Yeah, they're like
Is it
legit,
not-
bro.
Oh,
That's insane.
Yeah, no, we'll figure it out. Anyway, the
Yeah,
dude
no,
is
he's
jacked.
bodied up.
But
he's
yeah, but I
fucking
mean,
jacked.
I was looking at him. He's
Go up
quite
to the
short.
top one.
Yeah.
He's quite short, but
But
he's
shorter
a,
than me.
yeah, he's really a short guy, but he is jacked.
Yes.
And but he really moves well on the ground. I saw him. I was like, I was really
What's the
seeing-
thing for like a heavy, like a guy that's like holds quite a bit of muscle mass?
Yeah.
He moves like he's very agile,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah, he is. He really is. He really is. I think he does black flips and stuff as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, I saw that. He's very athletic. So
With,
yeah,
with that, like, without being an absolute knob, right? Without you in that light heavyweight division, I don't think anyone's really going to give Zach too much of a run.
yeah, I honestly think he's gonna be
Gideon's not going to be able to dominate Zach on the ground.
No
He's not going to be
way.
able to get on top of Zach and like dominate him. You know?
no 100%. I think
Gideon's chances
what
to,
I
like,
said with
stand
that
with
with that fight, the winner is gonna be the guy who wins the wrestling exchanges.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the guy who wins the fight.
Yeah.
Guy can keep it. I mean, he don't wants to keep that fight standing.
No, definitely, dude.
And you know, for a grappler, grapplers, like I mean, eventually they might get a takedown, but if you can get them standing for 5 minutes, like if you're a grappling
Yeah,
fit
yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
they get so tired from stand up, it just gases them. And I mean, if you're a guy that does stand up predominantly, the ground and the wrestling makes you so tired
No,
so
100%.
quickly. So I think for Gideon, that would be the key: is just train wrestling, train not to get to the floor,
Yeah.
and
Do anything you can. To
Do we
not
know
get your
when
back
this
on
thing
the
is
floor.
happening? Is it happening?
I
What's
don't
going
know
on?
if this is happening.
Well,
I'm not sure.
From
I heard some terrible rumors.
Oh, but
man.
remember,
I've
there's
heard some
Michiel
terrible-
Opperman is coming back.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he was.
But I heard the UFC ratted him out, like in when he was in Brazil.
Well,
like I heard they phoned him to say he was suspended.
Yeah, something like that.
Thanks
Well, I
for-
don't know if it was the UFC or it was someone in the UFC.
Yeah, it was Guy Lazarus. I'm just joking. I'm just
No,
joking.
I
I'm
mean,
just joking.
there was rumors about that. Like, people said it was the UFC, and so I don't know for a fact.
So I thought there was just bad blood there. Like I would never
Um,
expect Michiel to come back.
He
Yeah,
was
I
he
mean-
was signed to fight at Brave. at
Brave,
the stage,
yeah.
eh?
Yeah, but I mean, for Michiel right now, it's all about just fighting.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be great for him to get a comeback fight,
Mm.
Yeah.
and I mean, that will probably his first fight will be at light heavy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michiel's like one of the most ridiculous stories in MMA, right? Like I remember going to Walter Sisulu Hall and watching him get fucking wrecked. Like Oaks were coming in MMA, he had no ground game. They would just sub him. Like I think he went like 0-6 or something. Everyone like wrote him off, and then all of a sudden he just came like this
Yeah,
dark
he-
horse, and then he started like winning everything.
He was on a 9-fight win streak when he won about 10-fight win streak.
That's madness, dude.
Yeah.
From
also-
going from like the longest losing streak to
Yeah.
one of the longest winning streaks, it's absolutely
He
brutal.
also knocked the snot out of Yannick Bahati.
Yes, he
Yes, that was so nice.
I still,
Everyone wanted that fight.
Oh, it was so nice. To watch.
I still had my knee brace on because my LCL, I tore my LCL in that stage, and I was sitting next to the cage with that fight, and we were stressed because he took the fight on a week's notice. And I mean,
Just had 14 beers the night
yeah,
before.
it was late. Well, I guess I'm fine. I'll take the fight. I'm still gonna drink today, but maybe a few beers today. No, and I mean, he wasn't stressed. He was like, yeah, of course I'll take the fight. I mean, I'm close to that weight. I can do it. And I mean, he took that fight, and we were all like, jeez. And I mean, Yannick's a massive guy, and he's just been tearing up through everybody. He just beat everybody. Just beat JP Kruger, was in good shape. And he was like really not training hard for anything.
Yeah, and JP Kruger's also one of those dudes.
He's a
we
good
just-
grappler.
Yes, we've just not seen enough of him.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking world.
I think he's got like a very serious neck injury that's just never going
JP.
away. Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean, like,
all the Jets, dude.
And
Oh yes.
and my favorite was even after he got
ETV,
suspended, Yannick was like, no, now this fight doesn't, now the loss doesn't mean anything. I was like, he knocked you out. It wasn't like,
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, he wasn't fitter than you, or like, jeez. That
McCall
uppercut. Oh.
literally looks like.
oh,
cheers, bro.
Dorsing.
Hey, McCall literally looks like they pulled him straight out of the bar.
Straight, like, he was like, yeah, sure, I'm ready to go. Let's
Hey,
go.
look at him. He's like, cool fight. What time?
Yeah, I
Let's see, with that thing, I did a box jump onto that fence with my knee brace on.
heard rumors about this guy just being absolutely crazy in terms of like training in the gym.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
no, I'm not training
Yeah.
with him. Thank you.
Now listen,
He must have been the root cause of many of an injury for you.
oh yeah, well, me and Machiel, okay, basically every injury. So Machiel's broken my jaw,
Just
my knee, my ankle, my ankle ligaments, knee ligaments.
Tickle or Vicus, yeah,
there's
with
so many injuries. Like my bursa, he burst my bursa with a kick. But also, like when me and him go, that's why with this fight we wanted to do a camp together. So we were planning on fighting both in November. And when I said, okay, guys, let's go look at the record. We've been on 6 fight cards together. And we should fight on the same night. We have not fought on the same card once. Every
Oh my
single
goodness.
fight, every single time, either him or me gets hurt. In
Ish.
that camp. Because, I mean, we're such good training partners. We train together all the time.
well, it
And,
sounds like he was a great training partner.
And listen, the thing is, when we go,
You live
it's,
where you die, man.
when we,
Live
I
where you
mean,
die.
when me and him spar, like the first round, he'll be like, "No, I don't want to go, Dricus." And the second round, he's like, "I have to warm up first properly and get my eye in because when we go, you know, it's a fight, man. We're gonna." So,
Ooh,
oh, geez, yeah.
Zach's
Yes.
bodied up there, bro.
My boy is jacked.
Choof.
Oh,
Hey, he is jacked.
that is, yeah.
Oh,
Jeez, man, that is.
My boy is thick.
Oh man, that looks like an arm pump waiting to happen. What?
Yes, dude.
straight after a jit session. eh?
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like he was doing 100 weight sessions a day during lockdown.
Yeah.
Jesus, bro. They didn't stop. Wait, you know his brother's like a high level brown belt as well,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So like they never stop. They live
Yeah.
together, so they just keep going. Like
Yeah,
when
I mean,
lockdown came,
I mean,
boom.
that's why lockdown for me was the best. It's probably the best I've gotten in years.
Yeah.
I mean, I have in my garage. We moved in a week before the lockdown. We took a lot of the gym mats into my garage. I let Cameron, Mark Hume, Cameron Simon, and my brother. I have two amateurs living at my house. My coach Jenny, he's there, and Machiel came there every day. He's a doctor. He could drive around, and we were 4 guys living together, all pro fighters. We trained.
That's brilliant.
We did 2-3 sessions a day. And literally would wake up, what are we going to do today? Train. So for 6 weeks, I didn't leave my house once. I just stayed there and we trained 2-3 times a day, every single day. And we got so much better because Monet was on the farm. So we would take videos of the whole session, send it to him. He would see the recording, say, you do this, do this, do this, do this. So, I mean, we got a 100% session throughout the whole lockdown. I was like, man, I'm going to get so far ahead of everybody because everybody's sitting at home right now. What can they really do?
No, dude.
Do some
And it
sit-ups, maybe some push-ups.
It was
Yeah.
difficult to stay motivated. Like Rourke and myself were together, and we rolled each other.
Yeah,
Fucking
and-
fraught for 3 weeks,
And
dude.
I
Every
fucking
day we were
hated
like
jokes. I was like,
like
look at
10
these
rounds
jokes.
a day we're going, and then eventually when they extended the lockdown, I like looked at him and was like, I just can't roll you anymore, dude. I can't just keep
Going
sticking.
home.
No, I can't just keep sticking. Like it's just you and me. Like
My brother walked up the one time and he was like contemplating joining in, and he just checked. Must have looked like a full blown fist fights. Like, we're grappling, but still. And then he's like, nah, it's fine. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, let them figure it out.
Oh, man.
Zero actually the reason like every day, and it's like this fucking badass edited video, and I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, we lost
I wish I
momentum
had
hard on
someone.
that.
And then I put a gi on my fucking daughter's teddy bear. I was like, fuck, I'm also gonna do something. Fuck these ergs. And then the video stopped, and I was like, well, fuck, I'm not gonna fucking wrestle with a teddy bear if you ergs are done.
dude, 100% try.
Went from jiu-jitsu every day to
Then I-
just bodybuilding. That's
3 weeks into lockdown, I was in the best shape of my life. 5 weeks into lockdown, I was fat, tired,
No,
lazy.
listen, that lockdown, the problem for me was I was so determined this year because I took the whole year off for the transition from welterweight to middleweight to get my body become a real middleweight, not a. And you don't want to fight with excess weight, so really put on perfect muscle, walking around on the perfect weight. And then I was like, now I'm ready. I fought in October, then December, and I was like, February, first event, great. And then the lockdown happened. I was like, oh, man. And I just stayed ready. I was like, I'm already in fight shape. Stay ready. It's 3 weeks. Stay ready for 3 weeks. And then another 3 weeks. And I was like, okay, after this 3 weeks, they're going to do it. And then it was like extension after extension. I was like, and so this whole year, like literally any time this year, I could have taken a 2 week notice of fight. The whole year I stayed ready for that. So
Well, it worked out. I mean, like,
Yeah, you got your 2 weeks.
it worked out in the end. I'm so happy because, I mean, I'm so glad. Mentally, I was 100% ready. You know, even though it was 2 weeks notice, I didn't stress. I was like, it's a 3-rounder. The past 5 years, it was only 5 rounders for me.
Yeah.
So I mean, fighting a 3-rounder now, I would have been ready for whatever pace. That was so. I was really happy about that. So I mean, in this lockdown, I think a lot of people lost a lot of momentum, but I think there's so many people that really gained a lot. Like, I mean, you could have really gone better.
yeah.
Because what we did this lockdown, what I did, at least, was really focus on the small things that there's not really time in a normal training regime for that. Because what I mean now, I'm at my house the whole day. I literally have the whole day to work on stuff, small stuff, and that's the stuff we figured out in lockdown. So cool.
Nice, very nice. What was the whole Fight Island experience like? I mean, obviously it's and we spoke before you left. Obviously the first Fight Island event was this massive occasion and it was historical, but it's still historical regardless because it's the way the cards have been filled out and being part of those events have just been insane. What was it whole? How was your mindset? Let's put it like that way. Getting off the plane, arriving there. It's not only making your UFC debut on 2 weeks' notice after everything that's gone on in the world, and then arrive in a place like Abu Dhabi where it's just like glitz and glam all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, every single time I think about it, I was like, no, I'm not gonna think about it. Not gonna think about it. So I would do my mental preparations, and the whole time I was like thinking about what it's gonna be like. And every time I do it, I usually do it at night. And I was like, I can't do these at night anymore because every time I get too excited, I'm thinking about going through it in my mind, and I'm like, no, I can't sleep for another 2 hours. So, and you know, and obviously what happened was immediately I realized, listen, if my fight card's on this time, there's just a 2 hour difference between South Africa and them. Why are we fighting at 5 a.m. in the morning? What's happening? And I was like, what? Why? And they said, no, it's because of the American time.
Yeah.
And I was like, well. So then, every morning, well, then I had to go that night. I had to go sleep at 7, wake up at 3 a.m. And I was like, how am I going to go to sleep at 7? My training finishes at 6:30. Then I have to eat. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'll make a plan. Trained, went to bed the first time, didn't work out. And then went to sleep at like 10 where I usually go, and then wake up at 6. And I set my alarm and I woke up at 3. So I was so tired the next day, but I knew that was the way to go because now I'm going to want to sleep early. And that changed up. We got on the airplane, but the whole trip, everything, I just kept on thinking. Every time I think about it, I'm like, there's no time to build this thing up in your head right now.
Yeah.
Because usually when I sign a fight, the first 2 weeks, let's go. But I'm always thinking, is this the right? Maybe this guy's good. And as my camp progresses, I get more confident. And then after a while, I know I'm super ready for this fight. I feel there's no way this guy can beat me. So every time I would think about, listen, this guy doing this, I obviously immediately started watching his fights. And I was like, well, tough customer. And I realized the first thing, obviously, this guy he's never been finished. I'm like, I finished all my fights. I don't want to get that decision now.
Yeah.
I'm really not up for that right now. And yeah, I mean, the whole time, every time I would think about it, I would do my mental preparations as if I was fighting in the UFC. I was thinking about fighting. I wasn't thinking about I'm fighting in the UFC. I wasn't making a big deal of it. But obviously, it's hard. It was the biggest deal ever. But I wasn't, just kept on, my mindset was, don't think about it that way. Just think about it, you're going to fight. That's it. And to fight a normal dude, just like you would, yeah, same thing. I mean, for me, there's no big fight and small fight. Every win is just as important.
Yeah. So do you think the short notice actually helped you a lot?
I think in a way, I wouldn't say it helped me. I think 2 weeks was a better notice than no. I don't think it made a difference, to be honest. I don't think it made a difference at all. I think the fact it might have helped in the way that I wasn't thinking, damn, I'm fighting for the UFC right now. I was just thinking, I'm fighting a guy right now and I need to win this fight. Yeah. You know, if you don't want to lose your debut fight. Yeah. I mean, if I lost the EFC fight, the UFC would say, no, we're not looking at this guy anymore. Yeah. If you lose your debut fight, same thing happens. So, you know, that's why I say there's no easy fights and every fight matters. So, I mean, when I got to in Abu Dhabi, the whole experience was like, immediately from the second we landed, we had a different route than the people that got off the plane. The UFC guys were waiting for us. They took us to a quicker way through passport control. Immediately, I realized this is why the UFC is the UFC.
Yeah, 100%.
And just the way they did the whole thing. I mean, now you understand when you look at UFC fights, sometimes you see a guy like Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje, like, why would these guys look, they will die. They're like, and I mean, for me too, I'm always like, I'll die in there if I need to, but there's only one purpose you die for, and that's the pride you have for yourself.
Yeah.
When you fight in the UFC, there's a bigger thing. You know, they treat you like a king. They treated, well, I mean, this fight, like this whole event, I couldn't believe it how professional it was. I had to worry about one thing. That was making weight, winning a fight. That was it. Food, supplements, everything was everything, like, I couldn't think of anything. They had a coach there that helped you with your sleeping because you had to adjust your sleep. They had a guy there they gave me a program for which the best times to optimally train in the mornings to peak for your fight day. They gave me a weight cut kit. Even though I took all of that stuff with me, they were like, how do you usually cut weight? And I said, no, I do this and this and this. And they're like, cool, here's everything you need. They delivered it to my room. They were like, do you need somebody? They even said, listen, do you need somebody to come up to your room when you start cutting weight? To help you cut weight, we have professional guys that help cut weight. I'm like, what?
I've got Cameron Simon, don't stress.
And I'm like, no, I brought a little guy with me. Don't worry. I don't need your guys.
I got slave labor here.
Yeah. He's gonna fetch stuff for me while I sweat.
Yeah, so I mean, it was such a cool experience, and I was like, just the whole time I was there, I was like shocked of every single thing, from the meals that we got and the buffet to, I mean, literally, there's nothing you can do. Everybody's so friendly, like the UFC staff. Like, it's almost like every single person there knows everything about everything. Any person you see with a UFC shirt on that works there, you go, listen, where do I do this? And they're like, if they don't know, they're not like, oh, I go ask their guy, like, cool, come, I'll show you. Everybody knows everything. It's so organized. No, it's really a perfect organization.
How was that COVID test?
I mean, I did 7.
Jeez, like.
Yeah. We did 3 the week before we flew.
So what was your build up to, like, actually getting to Abu Dhabi? Like, what admin did you have to go through?
I've never had to
ask his girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Ask my girlfriend. She made a list of everything we did do. I think it was 45 tasks.
Oh my.
45, and this is not like go buy milk. It's like go to the police and get the certificate. Go to the hospital, get the certificate, get tested. No, wrong date. Get tested again. It was insane. Bank forms. It was ridiculous. Like the amount of admin, and usually that stuff's cool. If you sign the contract, I mean, I have to sign my contract. I just took the contract. I was like, oh, sign, send. Like there's not even time. Like even that, I was like, such a big moment. Like I signed everything on my phing that I needed to sign except my UFC contract. I was like, nah, print that guy out. And I signed it. No, everything happened so far. I was like, it literally couldn't have happened. Like if there was a day before I had to, like a day before we flew out, everything was taken care of. Yeah. And it was like, I mean, because there's so many stuff I had to get from government. So then what happened was my passport. It has to be valid for 6 months after you've went for still 6 months. Yeah. I missed the date with 3 days. Oof. And I'm like, oh, I know they're pretty picky about this stuff. And I was like, oh shit. I mean, I said a temporary passport. They said, 5 working days. I'm like, 5 working days. That's not enough because I need to get the visa as well. And you need the passport for the visa. So I was like, that's not going to work. I get it literally the day before I fly out. And I sent it to my manager. They're like, no, they'll make a plan. They'll make an exception. They sorted it out. So, I mean, everything was a great team effort. My whole team, we started training in the mornings at 4 or 5. We would be in the gym.
In Abu Dhabi.
No.
Yeah.
Immediately. So the next day, I got the fight and I said, so Cameron, you're the lucky winner. JT. Michiel went, no.
No.
He's like, no, I'll see you tonight at tonight's session. Cool. This what time? At 4:30? He said, no. Sorry, man. I have a day job. I'm not doing that. And I was like, no, you don't have to come because, I mean, it was just specific sessions. He said, I'll come. Just know I'm going to curse at you every time. I'm going to try and hurt you when I get you.
You might not make it to you.
Yeah.
You stay there, buddy. You stay there.
Yeah. So, I mean, and then, Cameron, Henny, Monet was there every morning from 4. And we started doing our session. I mean, we started doing fight distance every day at that time to make sure I peak at the right time. And my body gets used to going to sleep at 7, 6, between 5 and 7, and waking up between 4 and 5. And then we get to the UFC. And they said, listen, you have to be downstairs at 2:30. And I'm like, wow. Well, I trained my body to wake up at 3. But now 2:30, I have to wake up at like 1:45. Yes, and we immediately made the adjustments for that. But I mean, that was a small adjustment, just like an hour and a half. And I have to say, I'm a fan of fighting in the mornings now. It felt so much better. It was so much cooler to fight in the morning. Harder to sleep the night though because it's so close to your fight.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was already pumped up because I sleep great before the night before a fight because I know I'm going to fight it tomorrow night. It doesn't help. I stress about it now. Before weigh-ins, it's always a little bit harder for me to sleep.
Yeah.
But this time I could sleep because I wasn't dehydrated as much yet because the weigh-ins were only the evening. Where with the fights, fighting 5 in the morning, that was insane. After a fight, we had to wait for breakfast to happen. That was so cool. It was I'm a guy that likes to train as early as possible in the morning. I don't like the afternoon sessions. I prefer the morning sessions. So, I mean, it was so cool to fight in the morning. And, I mean, the whole experience, everything. But every single time I would sit and think about it. In my head, I would be like, nah, don't think about it now. You can take this all in after the fight.
Sure.
What you should be thinking about right now is winning a fight.
Yeah.
Don't worry about where you're fighting. Don't worry about and I mean, then I saw South Africa going crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen support like that for me personally in my whole life. I was like, wow.
Well, when you fight locally, it's like everyone's separated. They all got their camps. They're trying to support and whatever. But the moment someone leaves, like that, like generally the entire nation like pulls together to support that person.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's exactly what I
like you wouldn't have like FFM guys and PFA guys supporting you when you're fighting locally.
No,
They'd be like, fuck you, right?
Yeah, they're like, we don't care if you win or lose. Well, in fact, we hope you lose.
But the moment you cross the border and you're going to fight someone internationally, then it's like, okay, there's not like teams anymore.
I mean, as soon as a South African guy goes to fight in the UFC, no matter what gym, whatever, you're backing your guy.
You've always got that one guy, though. There's always that one guy. He's like, he's going to lose. Come on.
Yeah, that guy.
Why are you saying that?
Yeah, dude.
I'm just saying he's not on that level.
There's always that one guy. He's just like, the whole day is like, yes, this is fucking awesome. And then that one dude, I just don't think he's on that level.
I couldn't help myself down.
But you know what's hilarious though?
As well, and having a good fight with some of those people.
Oh yeah, but
you know
the
what's
South
hilarious?
African
Like
champions.
Like like Ruan and Gareth were the first era to go over, right? And like they weren't like highly successful. Gareth did okay.
Yeah.
You got
to. But they did a lot of our school fees. But then like the new era of African fights that have come through are just murking guys left, right, and center, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like when the guys say these not on their level, but you're like, but the track record really does say we are on their level, right?
I was about
like Oaks is getting knocked out left, right, and center.
Yeah, 3 debuts and 3 KO victories.
What are you talking about, bro?
So we have more winners now than we've had losers.
Yeah.
Guys that lose in the years.
No, 100%. So it's like when these Debbie Downers come out on social media and they're like, he's just not. I don't think he can keep up with this. Like, and you're like,
I'm like, dude, have you ever actually even seen that person fight before?
That's exactly
we African, dude. Like
when guys say stuff, like you can see some of the guys are like, some guys are like, I'm a fair guy. They're like, Dricus, he's a sloppy fighter. He's gonna get caught, and I mean, I can get behind an idea like that. I'm like, yeah, cool. This guy. I mean, I've been caught. It happens.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody can fix a little bit sloppy this here and there. But then a guy would be like, Dricus does not have the fitness to fight with this guy, and I'll be like, where do you what?
It's
Where
not
do you come from?
There's like no historical data to even support that.
Not once. And yeah, I mean that's literally like some people, and I'm like, some people would make a comment like that, and they'll be like, so when's the fight?
Yeah,
And I'll be like, oh
3 weeks from now, Tuesday, buddy.
yeah.
You'll catch it on Mnet after
That's
Carter Ranch.
craziness, dude.
Yeah, it's always funny. So what Rock was saying, like, fuck, it's so irritating. But anyway, I think that's the nature of MMA. To be honest, I think it's not unique to us. It happens all over. And like this massive message from a World Cup winning captain. Good luck, Dricus. You know, we're hoping to be the first African
that was so cool.
champion.
I
People
love
like, Kamaru Usman was the first African champion. I'm like, he's fucking American.
He's
fucking
American.
He's one
You know what I'm
He
saying?
spent all of like 2 days in Nigeria.
We're
dude.
not saying he's not a great fighter. He's
he's
fucking
brilliant,
one of
dude.
the best. But
He's
there's
not
a
he's
huge
not
difference.
Nigerian.
There's a huge fucking difference.
People need to start like separating the African fighters from the born and raised African fighters.
There's a difference.
There's a massive difference.
I mean, if you like, I mean, in that say you can say that John Jones is an African fighter,
Yeah.
technically. No, like when I was saying when I was like, and what some people actually saying on Twitter, the first African fighter. What are you trying to say about that, man? I'm like, I'm not trying to say.
Yeah, I'm
anything.
not saying anything.
I'm
Leave me
giving you
alone,
a
please.
fact.
Yeah.
I train in South Africa.
Yeah.
I was born in South Africa. That makes me an African.
Yeah.
And I go fight in the UFC. That makes me an African-based fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
If I was born in Africa and I went to the States at 4 years old, I'm not an African fighter anymore.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
100%,
you're not.
dude.
You know, so Etienne Reinicke last week, we spoke about this because I don't know if he had seen the comments or I think he was just speaking about the same thing.
I
that
know
yours.
Don has said the same thing.
Don has said it countless times and tried to explain it to people as well. But I think Etienne he actually explained it the best. He's like, what you have to understand. And Kamaru Usman is the perfect example. If Kamaru Usman stayed in Nigeria, there's no wrestling through high school. There's no wrestling through college. There's no NCAA. There's none of that shit. And it's not sponsored by your school.
He's not going to get money for that. How's he going to make a living?
Exactly. How are you going to make a living being a full-time wrestler in South Africa?
And there's also no black zillions to like get him to transition over to MMA. There's like none of that structure in
dude.
Africa.
None
dude.
of
Exactly, dude. So there's a fucking huge difference. We're talking about a huge difference. I mean, you guys will both know. You to a way higher degree. What you have to do to get to that point, not to say that the workload is different. We're not talking about workload. Every champion has a workload they have to commit to.
100%.
The difference is the hoops you have to jump through along the way. And every different person has different hoops and more hoops they've got to jump through. But from here to get to the UFC, there's no fucking wrestling at school. There's no NCAA program. There's no
100%.
boxing.
I
There's
mean,
none of that shit.
all of it. I mean, if you go to a coach, this guy is a guy who does this your whole career as a youngster. Me, for example, when I went do K1. My K1 coach didn't make money from what he did.
Yeah.
He had a passion for it, and he did it after his job. And sometimes he'd work late. Sorry, I'm not coming to training. And
Yeah.
I mean, we still have that. I mean, even my coach now isn't a full-time coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's a brilliant coach, and he's there every single day. But what I'm saying is, they had 100% full-time coaches that all they do is get paid to coach wrestling
Yeah.
since he
100%.
was 5 years old.
No, exactly.
So I mean,
And that's a huge
I mean,
difference.
if you the only thing you need is you need to want to do it.
Yeah.
Basically, you have everything
No, for sure.
in the making. Coming from South Africa, coming from a real African country, if you want to make it in the UFC, you really have to. You have to. I mean, like you said, jump some hoops. It's not an easy task.
But geographically, like we're so secluded from the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
It's like those local fighters that are like 7-2, 7-3. They'll get these opportunities in the UFC way quicker than a 10-0, 11-0 South African fighter. Like to fly these oaks out from Africa and deal with all the. I mean, we got such weak passports. Like deal with all the visa issues and whatever. Might as well just get a local fighter to fight, dude.
If you look at a guy like Sage Northcutt, he got in the UFC at 5-0.
Yeah.
If you look at the guy, even the guy that Don Madge made his debut against, that
Yes,
guy
yeah,
was
yeah.
4-0 as a professional.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at a guy, 4-0 is a great record, but I'm looking at myself before I fought Gareth McLaren the first
Yeah.
time. I was 19 years old. That's the record, and they get signed.
Yeah.
That's your fight experience.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it's great in some ways, but for us, like, I think we're at a stage now, like a guy like Don, when he went over, he was ready for that stage.
Yeah.
Like myself, when I went over now, I have so much international experience. I'm ready to fight at that stage, and I believe that's where the big difference comes in with, like, what we said is the new era of South African fighters. The new, not the guys that paid the school fees, the guys now that we are right there with the best in the world.
Yeah.
There's nothing they know that we don't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that was one thing in my mind. I was constantly thinking, okay, what if I get to the UFC and I just get in the cage with this guy, and he is just like, everything I try, he's basically laughing at me. If I touch him, he's just like getting out of anything. Like, he's double as strong as I am. He's double as fast as I am. And I mean, you build this up in your head. That's what you think, because you see these guys on TV. You immediately think, listen, they're much better than we are. Or I mean, at least that goes to your mind at least once or twice. And I'm just thinking, what if it is like that? What if I get to the UFC and I just get destroyed? Like, this guy just destroys me. Like, everybody's like, what? Why would they give this guy a fight? I mean, that's honestly what I've been thinking about it.
And
like,
I mean, we've seen it happen. Like, you see guys getting there, like, what the? How did this guy get you?
Like, I mean,
like,
I just saw a guy, like one of the guys who fought KB. He was the last fight on the undercard. He's a Canadian guy who fought.
KB
Tom,
Baller.
yeah, he fought Tom Breeze, also middleweight. He fought, and I mean, this
Tom
guy
Breeze.
fought. His record is 8-0 with 6 first-round knockouts. This KB.
Tom
guy.
Breeze was like, oh, yeah.
And I
Literally.
I looked at this guy, and I was like, what? Middleweight, firstly. He's quite tall, but very skinny. Not muscular. I was like, what? 8 first-round knockouts. Who did this guy fight?
Where's he been fighting?
And I'm like, gee, I've never heard of this guy. He looks like an animal in my weight. And I'm like, but he doesn't look at all like, I'm like, this guy doesn't look like he can physically beat me at anything.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Let's start with a game of rugby. Let's see how it goes.
and I mean, we just, he got an occasion. The first time he got jabbed, he went like this. And I was like, oh, you don't belong here, man. The first shot, I was busy warming up backstage. And I looked on the TV and I told Monet, Coach, look, this is that guy. He's like, this guy. And we saw his record and we were like, what? And the first shot, literally the first shot fight, he did this. I was like, this guy doesn't belong in the UFC.
Yeah.
And he just got
Didn't he get knocked out with a jab?
Yeah, he knocked him out. Like, he just
Well,
caught him the whole
yeah.
time. One jab, boom, put him down.
It's
done.
a cool debut though to give that guy. Right?
Yeah, like, cool.
Yeah,
yes,
have
Tom
this guy.
Breeze.
He's gonna smash your stand up and grappling. So
Yeah.
have a good time.
But that's the UFC though, dude. That's what people don't
Yeah,
understand.
that's unfortunately what you're getting. I mean, I fought a black belt and I was like, everybody's a black belt. Like, I just check everybody does. Everybody's a black belt. I'm like, well, cool. Luckily, I've had a few black belt wins.
Because it was like, you know, you hear the signing and then you like look at the opponent and you're like, okay, UFC. So no, nothing
No
slightly
warm-up
easier
fight,
than
yeah.
this. Eh?
No,
This
yeah.
is the best we got right now. That's how it goes. But the same with Don. Like, I mean, obviously, T. Edwards was like highly touted coming into.
Yeah,
this.
it's
Yeah.
just starching like
Yeah, I mean, that's the
You know
thing
what I
with
mean?
him.
And
He
you're
was
like-
such a guy. He was just coming forward and bang.
Yeah.
And you were like, seriously, UFC, like, couldn't have given us something a little bit
And the thing
gentler.
is,
but-
when they come from the Dana White series, they generally try to push them.
Yeah.
They
do.
try to push them. So
They do.
you're like,
Well, you see the hype video. The hype video is like 2 minutes, and it's like 1 minute 30 of Tay,
yeah.
30 seconds of Don. It's just Don like
Yeah, shadow boxing. Eh? Or like a 1995 Thai boxing video. That
Yeah, dude,
the
you're
Thai
like,
boxer. It's quite weird.
yeah, no, it was.
there's no,
yeah.
no, they don't hide it.
Yeah, I mean, this
either.
guy I fought now, I jumped 48 rankings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw
is
the,
crazy.
That's
Ruckus
massive,
Media
dude.
actually posted that. The rankings.
Yeah,
where
I'm
he
ranked
started.
number
Where was he
39.
ranked in the UFC? He was out the top 15, right?
No, he was ranked number 30.
Number 30. So, I mean, that's a
Yeah, so
you leapfrog all the way up there.
Yeah, I was 74 when I signed. Now I'm number 30.
that's
That's
awesome.
crazy. I
That's
was like,
sick.
yes, that's good.
In what has historically been one of the most difficult divisions in the
Yeah,
UFC.
fuck.
Jeez, and yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest thing with this guy, with this fight, was I made a lot of hype around me finishing fights, and I still believe that I have the ability. That's one of my talents, as a fighter, is finishing fights. Like, I have that instinct to know when to go for it and when not to go for it. And with this guy, I was like, I saw all of his previous fights, and I was like, he's so gassed and so tired. But even he fought some good guys. He fought Andrew Sanchez.
Yeah.
Went to a decision.
Yeah.
He fought some big names, and nobody could finish him. Like even when he got destroyed for a whole fight, they just couldn't put him away. And I was like, jeez. And he's really tough. Like he's so hard to take down. I think he has the 8th most takedown defense, to defended takedowns in the UFC.
That's crazy, yeah.
So I was like, this guy doesn't get taken down. So I mean, if you're struggling on the feet, you're gonna have a tough time to take him down. And I was just like, I'm certain I'm gonna finish him. Like, I mean, I'm gonna at least try. And I mean, that for me was it would have been a terrible night. I would have been glad I won. But if I made my debut and I didn't finish it, I would have hated that.
Sure.
So I mean, now in the UFC, it's exactly it. Now people are like, especially in this first 4 fights, they're like, build yourself. And my coaches, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not chasing. I'm still young. That's a great part. I'm 26 years old, so I want to take this 4 fights, get my rhythm in the UFC. I don't want to take easy fights, and then I was like, take easy fights in the UFC. Where am I gonna
that's
get that?
It's literally
so people don't understand. But you know what makes me laugh? Like straight away, they're like, yeah, I think he's ready for Adesanya, or maybe you should fight Khamzat. I'm like, guys, that is not how it works.
Yeah, people are just like, you guys call him out, and I'm like, if you call somebody out, you have to be realistic, guys.
Just stay enthusiastic, though. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm
like, it's
just like,
awesome.
yo,
And listen,
guys,
yeah, sure, I can
for
beat
sure
him.
still.
I can beat him on that night. I know I have the ability to beat him on that night. But he knows that as well. In the UFC, like, they're not gonna just say, "Oh, yeah, sure, after your debut, here you go."
It was a great debut, straight to the title, dude.
yeah, exactly, straight to the title. What a
Let's
nice
skip
debut.
the rest of this shit. Let's just go straight to the title.
We look at the hoops comes that technically had to jump through, right? He has to fight on short notice. Then has to fight again in 10 days. Then has to fight like 8 weeks later. Now they're like, oh, we'll give you a bone and give you Chris Weidman. You know, like, it's like,
Is he fighting
that's
Chris
the-
Weidman?
Chris
I think
Weidman asked for that fight.
It's
Dude.
not done yet.
No,
It's
why
not
would he
done
do
yet.
that?
I think
Well, he wants to derail the hype and
Listen,
get his name back up there.
Khamzat's not gonna win that fight.
Against Chris Weidman.
Yeah.
Chris Weidman is a big man.
Yeah,
Just-
listen.
Bro, he's massive.
Khamzat realistically is a welterweight, dude.
Yeah, he's
I'm
a
not-
welterweight. And the thing is, listen, he's a badass dude.
Yeah.
But who has he really fought? I mean,
Yeah.
his last fight,
That,
Gerald Mershaw.
Yeah, Gerald
think-
Mershaw, yeah.
So I mean, yeah, cool. He's a top ranked guy, but he was what is he like on a 4-fight losing streak or what?
Yeah.
I mean, how old is he? He's on his way out.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that. I mean, if they give me that fight right now, I'll take that fight any day of the week.
Comes that.
No,
Gerald
yeah.
yeah. I would love that fight.
But I mean, like now the UFC's really jumped on the comes out train, right?
yeah, no, exactly. For him,
He's gonna
it's
get
great.
he's gonna get lack of fights now. Going
Yeah, he's
forward.
gonna get good
I
fights. now.
dig how they were like, yo, we signed. He will fight Damian Maia next. Like, he's not fighting Damian Maia
Nah,
next.
bro.
Why, dude? Like, well, for sure, don't do that to Damian.
Yeah, listen, he'll destroy David Maia.
yeah.
Like when they said that fight, I was like, oh, they want to build him so badly.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna give
You
him.
honestly think he's gonna beat Damien?
Yeah, of course he'll
I
beat
think that's
Damian
what
Maia.
come
now, guys.
Of course he's gonna.
Damien's the greatest.
Oh.
I love Damien Maia.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Dude,
Khamzat
the
can
worst
wrestle.
the worst fights I ever watched was Damien versus Carlos because I love both of those oaks, right?
Jeez.
And then he just
Here we go.
and
That was
it,
heartbreaking.
it was heartbreaking, right? Because like the way he beat Carlos was like he actually like schooled him so badly that you almost immediately believe that Carlos has to retire. Like
Yeah.
that's how bad it was.
He took his back
Yeah.
straight away
100%.
and just sat there until he choked him out. It was in the second round, eh? Did he survive the first?
No, he had like 1 minute and something in the first round, dude. Carlos didn't even throw a shot. Like,
Listen, but
didn't-
that's the thing right now is with Damien. No, I don't see him getting. I don't see him getting comes out on the ground. No ways.
Yeah,
I don't
not
see-
on his
I-
terms, yeah.
Yeah, I see him getting knocked out before that. I mean, did you see the fight with Gilbert Burns?
yeah.
I mean, but Gilbert is a.
But Gilbert's also a savage, right?
Listen, ooh,
Gilbert's
I
like a
train with
title
Gilbert.
contender.
I train with Gilbert. Jeez, that guy's a badass dude.
Dude, I mean, he's like a world champion in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, listen,
right?
when
like,
me and him grapple, I went grappling with him, and I was like, yesy. But
there's levels.
no, listen, Gilbert didn't tap me in the 5 minutes we went with each other, but he did control the shit out of me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
But every single time I went with him, I was just like realized, listen, I'm not gonna get on the ground. The way that I could get my way with him was scrambling out of it,
Yeah.
But then you realize how fit he is.
Yeah.
And he's such a that's the one. Like, I mean, just for interest, like, you guys back Kamara or Gilbert?
Kamara.
Sure, I always back to jiu-jitsu guy.
My heart says Gilbert.
I think Gilbert wins that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've trained with them both. I think Gilbert wins that fight.
I would prefer for Gilbert to win that fight.
I think so. Listen, Gilbert has a fight pace of note. He has the better stand up.
Yeah, he definitely has the best
And yeah, by far, I think. And
What if Kamaru Usman spends copious amounts of time with Trevor Whitman?
I mean, Gilbert still trains with Henry Hooft.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'd rather train with Henry Hooft than Trevor Whitman.
But Henry
But,
Hooft,
and
Hooft
that's
backs out of the camp.
and-
That's the thing, though. So they've got to go their separate ways.
Yeah, but I saw they're gonna train together for this fight now.
Yeah, dude.
Like they're gonna do the same thing.
The thing is, like, Gilbert's the head jiu-jitsu coach, right? Him and Jorge Santiago or whatever.
Yeah, and also his brother, Herbert Burns.
Yeah.
He's really good on the
So I mean,
ground
like,
as
they're
well.
way more intrinsically built into that system than what
Yeah, but Kamaru,
is.
a lot of those guys don't do that. Like Gilbert doesn't do his jiu-jitsu at Sanford. He has another jiu-jitsu coach
Okay.
in Boca Raton, so they travel for that. So I went to train with them at their jiu-jitsu camp on weekends, where they go on Saturdays and they train there. So they'll do one session a day at Sanford, like the striking and the wrestling, and then they'll do the grappling somewhere else.
Who's their jiu-jitsu coach?
I have no idea.
Not Mario Sperry.
No, I can't remember the name. But I mean, yeah, Gilbert's a machine.
Oh, Gilbert's savage, dude. Jeez, like it.
Should we sling some questions at the big man?
You screenshotted a lot of them.
Dude,
but
let's
lots
just...
of them are the same.
Yeah, so start from the top, and if the same question pops up, we'll just
I like to
resolve
start
it.
from the bottom and then get.
You do your thing, boy.
Start
you do your
down
thing.
here.
There was a lot of
A
questions.
lot of repeats.
A lot of
'Kay.
questions. And if there's one that I remember that maybe we didn't ask,
Okay, lots of the stuff he's also answered while
Yeah.
chatting. Yeah.
yeah, that's normally how it
Specialized
goes.
meal plans and stuff like that.
But
Okay.
yeah, we can ask those questions because I think we can dive into it a little bit.
Who do you want to fight next since Kevin Holland just got booked?
Yeah, I saw he got a fight. I mean, that would have been a great fight. I like that fight. The reason being, why I wanted that fight was he's the same height as Israel.
Yeah.
They have kind of the same style. He has better jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt. So I think that fight would have been great for me.
He's quite a wild man. though,
Yeah,
isn't
that's
Is,
exactly.
he's a shit talker, right?
I
Is he
guess.
the,
He's ranked number 20 now.
he? Sort of.
it's a nice ranking to be.
Yeah, that's
Sort of. He's got like that weird.
You know the guy who
long
just knocked
country
out
style.
that spinning knockout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joaquin.
Yeah,
Buckley.
Yeah, Buckley. Yeah, he got knocked out by
Oh, okay.
Holland, and I saw Holland's last fight. He won the decision. And I think I can beat him. I know I can beat him actually.
Yeah, that is a nice.
So I mean that would have been a great fight. But I mean, to be honest, like, and I said that as well. And I said, listen, guys, I'm not really calling him out per se.
Yeah.
It's never. It's not nothing personal. There's no guy that I'm like, oh, I want to beat this guy. For me, it's all about the rankings right now, and it's all about climbing and taking smart fights, and so and you know, and then me and Monet spoke about it, that we're gonna take a little bit of a different approach to the whole thing than trying to get to the top 10 as quickly as possible. That makes no sense, especially in your first
Get
contract.
That, yeah.
And
Get to that second contract.
yeah, exactly that. So that's the plan, and I have the ranking which I have right now, and I'm pretty happy with that ranking right now. I have age on my side, so that's great. So yeah, build my career smartly and don't make the same mistakes we did in the past. You know, trying to get a title as soon as possible. Try to get a title when you're ready for a title. That's it.
Yeah, it's different now. The landscape is different. The pool is different. You know what I mean?
100%.
You go from an organization with like literally 3 or 4 options that make sense for you at the time.
Where now there's hundreds.
Yeah, there's hundreds. There's literally hundreds. You know what I mean? Like your next opponent could be fucking anybody. You know what I mean?
Exactly that. Like I'm like, people are like, who do you want to fight next? I'm like, I'm not even in a position to call anybody out.
Yeah.
The UFC doesn't care about you.
I need
call
3
out.
days to check the entire roster. And let me have a look and get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, so for me right now, I want to fight guys in my ranking pool
Yeah.
around me. You know, get a proper resume going.
Sure.
Get a create this same kind of hype fan base and that I believe I can in the UFC that I did in the UFC and in KSW. Put on exciting performances. You know, put on proper performances and. You know, get that second deal, and that's where your big negotiation comes in that second contract. Your first contract, you don't really have much room to negotiate. I mean,
You've got to earn that second.
So I mean, you don't have to like go into details, but is the UFC contract better than the KSW contract?
in the beginning, kind of the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it
for-
can get better.
Yeah,
How much you want.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
But it's also not the same because
but
you're
it's
a
not the
champion
same.
in
Yeah,
KSW.
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. My room for improvement. But I mean, the UFC one gets significantly better quickly.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's great.
Yeah, I've heard how the structure's going. The more you win, the more you earn. Type of
Yeah.
vibe.
So I mean, and once you get to that second, your second contract, I believe you really get some room to
Well, the nice
negotiate
thing
if you
about
have
the-
some, if you get that second deal. I mean, all that aside, I mean that's I've been fighting internationally for a while, so I've been dealing with that.
Used to the drill.
For that. So, but I mean, other than that, I mean, money aside, I mean the room for growth in the UFC is insane now. That's all. That's what I've been after the whole time, and it's finally here. So, yeah, I mean, not fighting Kevin Holland. There's no real opponent I would like to call out. I would like somebody in my ranking pool, like literally, like we said,
someone
it can
close
be
by.
literally anybody. I would prefer not to fight a Davies, to be honest.
Yeah.
I would like to fight a name. So
Yeah.
well, just somebody that's has
Well,
a
it's
few
well, it's a
UFC
strange
fights.
situation now because you've got a ranking. You fought on the main card in a pretty big card, so like you're up there now. You can't
Yeah.
they can't just like, okay, cool. There's a debutant and you're gonna be the first fight on the.
Yeah, but that's
prelims,
what
you
I'm
know
thinking
I mean?
about as well. Like I would.
That's
hate it.
weird now.
I want to be on the main card now every time, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Or at least I mean, if you're on the undercard, you want to be on the undercard for a Khabib Gaethje. I mean,
Yeah,
that's-
yeah, for sure. So it's an interesting dynamic now to see how
yeah.
they
I
deal with
wonder
that.
how
That's
they're
gonna
gonna
be very interesting.
make that happen.
Realistically, when are you targeting to get back in there?
I mean, for me, right now, I said I want to fight before the end of the year. I want to have another one, and but now it's basically impossible. It can't really happen because this is the last event they had on Fight Island.
Yeah, it's done now.
It's
Fight
done on
Island's
Fight
done.
Island, so now they're going back to the States, which
Changes, yeah, that
Change-
changes
yeah.
everything.
So for me now, I need to go and get my visas, my visa to earn in the States. I need to be there for that to happen.
Yeah,
So I'm going over there again to train December, January. I'm going to the States for a few weeks, for maybe 6-7 weeks. And then we start, and then I can get a fight contract for February. That's what we talked about with my agent. And they said this spot open on February, and I was like, cool. So get that fight, and then because you need the fight contract to get that visa approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or your, I think it's an A visa or what, your
Yeah.
workers visa in the States. So that's what I want to do. Unfortunately, like I mean, I would love to have another fight before the end of the year, but it's not possible right now
yeah. The States changes everything.
because they're not doing events all over the world right now. They're doing
Yeah.
Apex.
Mm.
That's where the rest of this year's event's going to be.
Yeah,
So I mean, that
which
makes it tough.
it is what it is. There's always time. Hit us with the next one.
Warren just asked my next question. Thanks, Warren.
When you're looking back to
Yeah.
get back
I'm
in.
finding it. Okay, prediction for the main and co-main for UFC 254.
Who's asking those questions? They'll be very upset if they don't hear their name. Rock.
Spunkmaster MMA.
Spunkmaster.
Funkmaster,
MMA.
jeez.
Yo, my
So
mate.
close to Funkmaster. Mr.
I
Aljo.
think Funkmaster might be his profile.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It is.
So Khabib Gaethje.
Gaethje.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, Gaethje's going to be
We've
there.
spoken about this.
I'm gonna go with Gaethje again.
Yeah, I'm going with
Yeah.
Gaethje. Let's see that guy. For
Bet the house.
Bet the house.
Bet
Where
the
is your
draw.
Don't be scared.
Did you see Mayweather's the amount he won betting on who's the guy who beat Loma this weekend?
Lopez or whatever.
He
yeah.
won like it's not a lot of money for him, but he won like $20,000 betting
Oh.
on him. See how
That was a
Yeah,
shock.
but he
though.
probably put $1 million on Loma as well.
Yeah.
okay.
He just broke even. The fuck.
Hold on, one sec.
When you're ready, boy.
I'm trying to find one that hasn't been. See what are the local times in Dubai.
So there was questions, a couple of questions on what do you think about the MMA scene here locally at the moment, which I think was a pretty good question.
At the moment, I think at the moment it's a bit of a screw up, to be honest. Right now, I mean, everybody's in limbo. Like, they have plans, but I'm not too sure. Like, they're not promoting anything at the moment. Like,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
dead.
if it's happening in November, they should have started promoting the event already. So I'm not sure what's happening right
it's
now.
not happening in November.
I'm meeting up with the UFC guys. I'm meeting up with them this week to get a bit more clarity on. Obviously, we want Cameron on the fight card as soon as possible, and the whole team is ready to go. So, I mean, yeah, we'll meet up this week, and then at least I'll know for the team's sake. But yeah, right now it's a bit of a mess, to be honest. No amateur events happening. No.
Well, Alpha's back, so
Alpha's back. They actually are. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy they had an event. But I mean, in these times, it's all everybody knows it. Everybody almost understands it. I mean, it's not really something you can do. But right now, I think we're at a place where plans needs to start happening. I think something needs to start happening now.
Yeah.
the
And,
strange thing is that Alpha is talking about having fans at their next event.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because right now, from now, I think you can have half of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's outdoors, you can have a max of 500.
Wow, I mean, yeah, then you can do a massive event.
But it's like a bit weird because everyone wasn't sure if that, because they were saying like, if you've got an outdoor event, you can have 500 people. So like for like
What does outdoor look like?
yeah, like an outdoor, like a registered arena, let's say, like
Yeah, okay.
let's say like
Loftus.
yeah, like Loftus, for
Yeah.
example. So you can only have 500 people in Loftus, for example.
Which would look like 0.
Yeah, that's not gonna make sense.
So exactly. So that's so I think everyone was under the misconception that okay, so for sport, you can't do that. But like it's not like it because Loftus like why am I going to put 500? It's going to cost me more money
Oh,
to put
yeah,
500
dude.
people in there. You know what I mean? But if you're a small show and it's going to like
I
500.
mean, what if you do it
people-
on a B field?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just
exactly.
account for the Jew.
Yeah, just account for the Jew. The DEW.
Not the
DEW.
JEW.
Yeah.
The JEW.
Account for the DEW.
If
That's a-
they
that's a
don't,
touchy
just
subject.
before your session, just like take some sunlight liquid on the mats and then train like that. Easy. Okay, from Justin Smith. During your interview with
Not the Justin Smith.
No,
Justin Smith.
MMA.
I don't know. You asked
It's
me
not the Justin Smith in the UFC. It's
No.
Justin Smith.
No, it's Justin Smith.
Yeah, I
MMA
know
Fundi. MMA Fundi.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So they compared you to your debut to that of Adesanya. Do you think that the comparison gives that middleweight division the notice to say that you're here and that you're a legitimate contender?
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, I was in there to prove myself and also in there to see exactly where I stack up right now. I mean, you can't look past the fact I didn't go in there and was like, I'm not already the champion. You have to go in there, I mean, I'm the champion where I'm come from, but I'm never, that's why I said in the UFC, I was like, when I had my UFC media day, I can't be saying anything. I can't be saying how I'm going to finish this guy. Nobody's finished this guy. I don't have the right to say I'm going to finish him. No, I feel I'm going to finish him, but how? I don't know. Whichever way it comes, I'm going to go in there and perform as hard as I can and fight as good as I can and see what happens. It's my first UFC fight, so they obviously, if somebody compared me to that, they obviously see something and I feel something. I've always felt it. I always know that I'm bound to be great and in the sport, and no matter how many times I fail at it, I'm going to keep on trying. And you know, it's for me, this is the stars aligned perfectly in this fight, and I believe the stars will align perfectly down the road where I become a champion in the UFC. So for me to be, if they compared me to the likes of Adesanya, I hope they said I might be better because I mean, I don't want to be just as good as Adesanya. I want to be better than Adesanya, but I mean, for me, that's a massive chip on my shoulder. It feels amazing to be compared to a UFC champion.
That's awesome. Okay, this one's from I Am Conyon. How much did your stand-up game change since Leon Maynard left CIT?
Yeah, see, that's a specific question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is quite.
I also think it's I'm Kunane.
No, it's Konyn.
Kunane.
Kunane, that's like a.
It's a rabbit in Afrikaans.
Okay.
You know nothing, Rock.
Yeah.
You must see when we go hunting, they speak Afrikaans to the side. He's like, and
He's trying to hit that Google
and the hunting
Translate.
community is like 95% Afrikaans. So like
Yeah, you know, if you go hunting, you're getting Afrikaans people.
100%, dude. So he just looks and then when the guy walks away, he's like, "What did he say?" Oh, okay, he said X, Y, Z.
No, I mean, remember, Leon's left CIT, how many years has it been? Almost
feels
5
like
years?
Feels like
Like
an eternity.
4 or 5 years ago. A lot has changed.
He got
Yeah.
married the other day. Did you
Yeah,
see
he got
that?
married
Didn't
in June.
he? Yeah,
Like, we didn't even know it. I saw it, like, in last month.
yeah.
Crazy.
Madness, eh?
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
He had that
Did he
bare
ever
knuckle
get
fight.
paid for the
Didn't
bare
get
knuckle?
paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of things changed. I mean, back when we fought then, I mean, that was such a traditional style of fighting, and you know, Leon
Search
himself.
and seek and destroy.
Yeah, and Leon himself was that guy just wrecks you if we spar K1, Leon Maynard will destroy anybody. And the thing is, MMA style striking and where we've come from traditional Muay Thai, K1 striking has changed so tremendously. It's a different sport. It's two different. You can't say I'm a K1 champion, I'm going to be good in striking in MMA. It just doesn't work that way. But with Leon left the team 5 years ago, so I mean everything changed in the last 5 years. I mean we have a much better gym. We have just as a professional gym, we have 20 pros, close to 20 pros now in the gym, where we were 4 guys back then. So I think a whole lot's changed.
So who's running the striking? Monet still runs
Monet.
everything, right?
Yeah,
He runs the
100%.
striking, he runs the wrestling.
Monet does the striking, wrestling. So we had Attila as our wrestling coach. We don't work with Attila anymore. But we work with Neil Geyser. We started working with him on the jets. I do a session where I do I do the ground and pound sessions, or more of the technical MMA sessions a lot, where we just a few guys that I take that class. I mean, it's basically it's not really a training session where you learn new stuff. I mean, no, I'm still a fighter myself. It's all about the just working on the little things you don't have time to work on in class, like striking on the ground, proper the ground and pound techniques. On the fence, little work, like stuff you can't spend the whole session on working. You don't have time to work on that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an extra session. But yes, Monet does the wrestling, he does the striking, and that's I've been working with Tao, a guy, and Etienne.
Tao's a fucking savage, dude.
Yeah, he's a great
Just-
grappler. Yeah, Tao's a great
Just-
grappler. He's awesome.
I used to roll with that
got
oak at Mark Robinson's gym,
Yeah.
every now and again. He used to fuck me up, dude. Just see. And he's a big human, dude.
Yeah, he's a big dude.
And he can grapple the fuck out of most people, dude.
Yeah, yes, he's a
Yes.
great. Tao is a great grappler. Etienne is a strong guy, so it's fun to work with him. Etienne is a very strong guy, very physical. He has good wrestling, and I mean, just and he wants to learn, so that's cool. It's cool to train with him. And with Tao, I mean, I brought Tao into. I asked to work with Tao quite a while ago, just because I've grappled him in competition way back, and I know he's a big guy, and he's a very
Was that at Unanimous? Did you
yeah.
grapple him there?
No, I didn't grapple him at Unanimous. I grappled him.
But he
at
did well
Monster
at
Clash.
Unanimous, right?
Yeah, we fought in the. Yeah, he was in the finals with Jason,
Jason Grigoriadis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Jason tapped him with the heel hook.
Yeah.
No,
But
he
Jason's
tapped him
also a
with
savage. But
yeah,
Jason was a
he's
brown belt forever, dude. and
Yeah,
he
but
became
what
a
happened
black
was, like, there was a weight limit and nobody just had high to the weight. Like, some people waiting at like 93, it was under 86. I actually died to get to the weight. Some people were just like over with like 7K. So I was like, well, and but yeah. So I mean, working with a guy like that, his grappling knowledge is insane. He's physically very strong, but he's also a very technical grappler. So
People forget he was like the old school dude. Like I remember
Yeah.
going to jiu-jitsu comps in like 2009, and he was the ref at the jiu-jitsu comps,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
And he ref almost all my fights for like 3 years, dude. And then like I never saw him roll, and then Penny came, and he would come to the Penny seminars and land abroad, and I'd be like, "Fuck, this sucks." Actually,
Yeah, dude, he would
Seriously
he would
good, yeah,
walk into
dude.
like Ilova for like a no-gi session, like everyone just goes quiet. You know, it's just like, yeah, that's him. You're like, oh fuck, here we go.
no, Tull's a savage, dude. Tull's a
Grappled
proper
him once
savage.
and
Yeah, he's
regretted
brilliant.
my decision. So hard.
There's all these like peripheral guys that are actually so good. Like, do you ever remember McCall Shapiro? He was with
Yeah.
Tull. Like
Yeah,
that, I could also like.
Didn't he got his black belt?
Yeah, he
yeah.
did.
Recently, yeah.
He was also like just super good, dude. And Sean Bloomberg and all those guys back in the day, dude. Like good times, very good times. But that's like a decade ago.
Lance Kier that I can lift
Yes.
weights and
Yeah.
Dude,
I-
Lance
I
Kier,
just
Lance
crossfit
Kier, if he
sports.
grips your gi, that's gone forever. dude.
Surrender, boy. Surrender.
those grip stripping techniques.
Don't worry,
Not
don't worry.
gonna
Conrad.
Okay, question from the same guy. So, what does still knocks mean? It was the biggest question from Americans in the YouTube comments.
Oh, jeez, who knows? Still looks means well, it is a sleeping pill.
Yeah, it's a sleep.
Yeah. So when I signed my first pro fight, I was like, I obviously need a fight name. My first
Everyone
I
has
was
to
like,
have one.
I need.
You're not a
fight
pro fighter without a fight.
name. Yeah. If I don't have a fight name, how am I?
Pitbull was taken.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah. So Pitbull was taken, and so I wanted to, and my brother actually came up with it because my K1 career was 33 fights with 30 knockouts, and he came. That was my brother came up with that. So yeah, that's it, and it's stuck.
That reminds me of a pretty fucking awesome story not so long ago. Like in the middle of the day, it never happens, but I had this crazy heartburn, and my father-in-law, like from December, had given me heartburn tablets that looked exactly like a sleeping tablet. And I went and I took the tablet, and like 45 minutes later, I was like, I've made a grave mistake. I've taken a sleeping tablet. It's like 1 PM, like on a Tuesday. I'm like, oh, fuck. I like to my wife, I'm like, I'm very sorry, but I have to go sleep. Like, there's nothing I can do about this.
Yeah, like, listen, there's nothing I can do about this. Like,
this is, I'm like,
and if you take that kind of sleeping tablet,
yeah,
you are screwed.
no, it's right. You're done.
Is it like, what is it like? Is it like Ambien?
No. So the thing I took was after my shoulder surgery. So it was like the first 2 weeks if you were struggling with pain. I never took them because I was fine. You know, like cannabis just sorts that fucking right out. You can keep your sleeping tablets. Start that by mistake. I was like, well, guess I'm going to fucking sleep then. Because you literally just, you can feel yourself, like your whole body's just like, fuck, I gotta go to sleep immediately.
Dude, I'm not a big fan of sleeping tablets. So on the way back from America, like anyone that's gone to America knows the trip back's the worst, right?
Yeah,
because like the jet lag's just a motherfucker. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna take this cannabis edible. So I was like, but I had a bad experience like in January in America with the edibles, dude. I got fucked up one night so badly. Anyway, I take this thing, dude. I left LAX. I woke up like an hour from Dubai, dude. Dropped in Dubai. Spent my 4 hours in there. Took another one before the flight. I woke up like an hour from South Africa, bro. Then I was jet lagged for like 3 weeks because obviously I'd fucked everything up now because I just slept everything, dude.
But I mean, I do that as well when I fly. I just sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. I was on a flight when we came back as well. I just slept for 10 hours. Then had a 10-hour layover, just lay there, and nothing's open on that airport. We sat at our gate for 10.5 hours.
Oh,
we sat. There was no restaurants open. Nothing.
And that airport's
Massive.
Awesome, dude. Like when it's operating.
Yeah, we saw all this nice places. We were looking through the windows.
Tom Sawyer.
And I mean, I was just like, I just want a beer so badly. And they're like, yeah, you can buy one at the convenience store, like, or the gift shop there. And I'm like, I don't want beer like that. I want a proper beer. And I mean, I was just like, I want to have a meal. You can't have a meal. You can have some chocolates if you like, some chips. Like,
madness,
yeah, we sat there for 10.5 hours. It felt like I'm never going home.
Corona.
And then we flew to the trip back home. Also, just slept. When I got back, my sleeping pattern was so screwed up, man.
Dude, I can imagine. Fuck.
Yeah.
Is there another?
Yeah, there is. What from? I don't even know. What is your opinion on catch wrestling, and what's the best base for MMA?
On what?
Catch wrestling. Like Josh Barnett style.
No, I don't really have an opinion. Not too sure how it works. I know kind of how it works, but I mean, I guess it's good if you're good at it. And the best style for wrestling, well, I mean, I can go all the way I want to, but there's no denying that wrestling is the best at this stage. Wrestling, just, I mean, I can say what I like the most, but that's not the best. The best is wrestling. If you have a great wrestling base, you're golden.
Yeah, because it goes both ways, like offensive and defensive wrestling.
Yeah,
like
and I mean, if you look at the champions, like, just there's no denying that.
Yeah, you've either got immense offensive wrestling or immense defensive wrestling.
And or you have the other thing you have is you have the mentality of, you know, wrestling is a tough sport. It's really such a cool sport. It's one of the toughest sports in the world. It's pure wrestling. So you know weight cut, you know competing, you know that physical work it takes. And I mean, that's the thing with wrestlers. I think that's a big advantage they get. They know about hard work since they were. Because if you're in the States and you're a champion, you haven't been wrestling for 5 years.
Yeah.
You've been wrestling since you were 5 years old, so you know exactly what it takes. And I think that's something that helped me through my career. I didn't start wrestling. I started judo when I was 5.
Yeah.
Did it for 5 years. Started wrestling for 2 years. Then immediately started with kickboxing. So I've been involved in fighting sports and really training hard for that since I was 5 years old. I've been involved in. There wasn't no time in my childhood where I wasn't involved in some form of martial arts, real martial arts that contributes to MMA. So I think that helped me, and never had the plan until I was 16. Then I started doing grappling as well. I started doing some grappling classes, and I mean, I think that is a
I think that's when I first saw you. I think we had like a competition at Quantum Tribe, and you came as
Yeah.
a white belt.
Yeah, that was
And
it.
then,
That was it.
and then you beat Scott Valentine.
Yeah, I beat Scott
Yes.
Valentine. Yeah, it was my first ever competition. Yeah.
Like you were there with like a shitty white gi or whatever, and then like everyone's like,
Yeah, listen,
Scott's
that
gonna
was
smash.
that wasn't my gi. I entered the gi and no gi because I wanted to fight as often as I can. I just wanted to do all that because I mean,
but like everyone knew who Scott was, right?
Yeah,
And then you came and you smashed, and I was like,
yeah, and
this is a problem.
He had a gi on, and I was like, well, they said there's a gi and no gi on my weight, and I was like, well, cool. And they said we'll borrow you a gi, and I was like, cool, then I'll do it. I think
he wore one of the
But
Manq Quantum Tribe gi.
Yeah, I think I had like a yellow belt on.
I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and I think you're still a white belt.
I am a white belt. Yeah, that was the last
Theoretically.
time I've ever put on a gi. No, I competed at Monster Clash. I won my division in gi. I went against Sean Robinson with a gi, and what happened was James
Sean's a
Sachs.
purple belt, eh?
Yeah,
Or a blue belt.
Yeah, it was a purple belt. I
Yeah,
think.
purple belt.
I went with James Sachs was there, and he was giving me shit about like CIT guys with
Sounds about
cauliflowers. How does that work? And I was like, well, I'll tap you, man. And he was like, you won't tap me. That was before I tapped him at the unanimous. And I was like, yeah, sure. And he was like, oh, do you have your gi? And I was like, well, you're my weight. Aren't you going to fight in my division? He's like, yeah, but only gi. I was like, I would fight gi. I don't have a gi. And they said, you can borrow a gi. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'll borrow a gi. And I entered for both divisions, for mine and for the no gi and the gi. And he sat there and he didn't compete. Jeez, he didn't enter for the division. I remember that day so well. But I mean, I put a gi on that day. And it was so cool because the first time when me and Sean went, he's obviously a super strong guy. I was like 20. And I grabbed his lapel. And I was like, well, I saw this flying triangle on the internet. I was always like, how am I going to just jump and do it? And I was like, something to pull now. And I went for that flying triangle. And my foot went into his gi as I went for it. And I fell straight on my head. Because I was going for it perfect. Like, and as I went like this, my foot went right into his jacket. Wow. And I was like,
That's actually super dangerous, eh? Like,
yes, I was like, oh, my neck. And I was at the bottom, and I got his back, and I won my rear naked choke. But yes, yeah, that was the last time I ever put a gi on. So I've had a gi on twice.
There's actually a photo I had on Facebook. I was looking for it now. I can't find it.
Of course you
With
can't.
no, it was like 2010.
the All-Star Grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're in like the back of the photo.
Yeah, that
Mark
was
competed as
yeah.
well on that one.
Yeah, that was
I
the
vomited
first
all
time.
over the mat. It was
Because me and Mark competed in 2010, I think. That's when me and Mark, or 2011. Me
There
and
we
Mark
go.
competed against each other. No, that was the one at Quantum Tribe. That was the first
That was
ever.
Zoom
Yeah.
in there if you can.
Yeah, that was the one at Quantum Tribe. That was the first time I ever competed in
Is that
jiu-jitsu.
you? I think that might be you in the middle of
Yeah,
it.
that's me and my brother.
There's me wearing the Venom top on the right.
Of course.
I didn't know anybody then.
Well, there's Donnie Van Heerden.
Yeah, that was like my
Is that
first
DJ
ever.
in the middle there?
Yeah, there's DJ.
Is he wearing a
There's
black tap-out shirt?
There's Rory.
I still rolled Leon at that event. Remember?
There's Leon there.
Yeah, I wasn't even with CIT then. I was still
Yeah.
with FFM then.
Yeah.
I saw Leon and Michiel, and Michiel wasn't there, and Marcus Taliat, he was there.
I rolled Shabub. I rolled Leon. I rolled Johan van Staden.
Is this the one where Adam Speechley and Johan van Staden had that hour-long...
Yeah, 1 hour, 10 minutes.
Wasn't it Leon and Johan van Staden that went that long around?
No, it was Adam and Johan. Because they were in my
Listen,
category.
Yes,
If you go with
powerful
Adam,
walk.
you know you're in for a long
You look
time
like
at the
10
office.
there.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was like 13.
Yeah, I was 16 then.
Yeah, no, it was the finals of the Absolute. Because Johan beat me in the semi-final to go fight Adam in the final. And then they never stopped, dude. It was just forever.
Oh,
Eventually, I
powerful,
started
bro.
leaving. They didn't get their medals. Like they couldn't wait any longer.
Oh,
Guys are done, eh?
Chris Dallas, bro. Powerful Chris Dallas. What a champion.
Is he a black belt or brown belt?
He's still a brown belt. Or is he a black belt?
I think so. I don't know.
He might be a brown belt.
I actually competed
And
against
that
him in
day
the
I-
gi section on this tournament.
And that day, like, there was an absolute... I think there was like 3 tournaments. And there was like 1, 2... then I- And I was in the absolute final the second time. And there was this guy from Madagascar, I think.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Radezinho.
Jeez, and
Yeah.
he choked me so bad. Because I didn't even roll with a mouth guard then.
Yeah.
And...
For like 4 of the... You remember the FILA tournaments? for like 4 filler tournaments in a row, the only oak that beat me was that oak.
Yes, yeah. I went with him, and like this is my second ever tournament, and I beat this. There was this big guy. It was older guy. I had him in a guillotine.
Harry.
I think his name was. He had like blonde hair, but he's a big dude. He's a.
Oh no.
And I fought him. He was because I was in just. I fought all the weight divisions that I could up.
Yeah.
And I had him in guillotine the first fight. That's all I knew. And I held on to that guillotine for like 5 minutes, and I couldn't do it anymore. And he got out and he beat me. And then I entered the absolutes, and I faced him the first fight in the absolutes, and I caught him with that same guillotine, and he tapped. And I was like, yes. And then I fought that guy, the guy from Madagascar, and we were busy rolling for 12 minutes. And I wasn't fit, like.
But he was super grappling fit.
Yeah, he was so, and I was so tired, and he got my back after 12 minutes, and he started choking me. I didn't want to tap, and he broke all the teeth. It's still broken at the back of my mouth. I was like,
oh man,
yeah.
that oak was a savage. He's a black belt now.
Yeah,
Like that oak was a savage.
He was
He
so good.
that same event, I was reffing that event, and there was this oak in like one of the white belt divisions from FFM as well. And Brett Evans puts him in a guillotine, Dorses, bro, in his lap, right? So I wake the oak up. The oak gets all upset. Why'd you stop? I was like, you're literally sleeping on the mat. So he gets like all stroppy. Then Brett fights him in the gi division and Dorses him again, twice in one day, dude. Then he gets all stroppy again with me. Like, why'd you stop? I was like, fuck, dude, you literally passed out twice today. Like just. And then Neil came to me. He's like, I'm so sorry. This guy is ridiculous.
Sorry, man, we had to. Sorry, I made a bad call.
Is there any more there?
There is. You're only 26 with your best years ahead of you. Are you going to stay at middleweight, or do you think it'll be easier to challenge at the top level at welterweight?
No, I'm never fighting welterweight again.
Was that kind of brutal for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
What are you
17
walking around
kilos.
at right now?
94. 94. Well, 94 when I'm in fight shape. When I'm on 94, I can take a fight in 2 weeks. So that's where I want to be ultimately at. Right now, I walk around like 98 now, 96 after the fight.
It's a long way down to welterweight.
Yeah, to welterweight, and I didn't pick up weight, like walk around weight at welterweight. This is where I walked around as welterweight as well.
Yeah.
I just had to start cutting 12 weeks before I fight.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was some scary photos. I think when you fought Soldich in your first fight.
The first fight was one thing. That second fight, I had to do 9 kilos in 48 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
That was terrible. Yeah, that was a terrible cut.
Oh, that's rough. Let me have a look then.
Well, I mean, the cut wasn't too bad, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I didn't suffer from the cut or anything. It's just I couldn't do it anymore. It was damaging my body.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, the last one. Any advice for amateur fighters in South Africa?
Advice for amateur fighters is get as many amateur fights you can. Wins, losses, doesn't matter. You know, as soon as that, and don't be so in such a hurry to become a pro. Except if you know, if money wise, because if you can become a pro, and in UFC and still get pretty low bar fights.
Yeah.
To be honest, like you can build yourself, your career, in the UFC as well, I guess, if you really need to. But if there's no need for you to go pro, keep it at amateur and get all the experience you possibly can. As an amateur, get all the fights you possibly can. Fight every month. When I was an amateur, I fought every single month. Every second week, I would fight MMA tournament. Yeah, then I would fight a kickboxing tournament tomorrow. It would just I'd get as many fights as you possibly can. And yeah, I mean, don't focus too much on protecting a record, especially at amateur. That makes no sense. You know, you can sign pro whenever you want to. It's not like you're from amateur going to the UFC. Yeah. You are going to fight pro if you want to.
Yeah.
So the wins and losses really doesn't matter as an amateur. So, I mean, just get the experience. Get the experience. Train with the best guys you can possibly find. Train with new guys. Like me, my favorite, like I go to our open mats on Saturdays and I grapple with guys. That's the first time they've ever grappled. I grapple those guys every day. It's you know, I learn something from everybody, and I mean that's why I try the new tricks. But
that is the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
You can't always be rolling guys at your level or better than you.
Yeah, I mean, there's some moves I'm not gonna land on my heel if I try it for the first time. There's no way I'm gonna land.
100%, dude.
So I mean, it's basically just. For any amateur guys, like some amateurs, like I don't know if I should fight this guy. I'm like, what does it matter? I mean, it's not on a record or something. You can lose your whole amateur career until you get ready for and start winning. Lose 10 in a row. There's no amateur board that's going to say you're not allowed to fight anymore.
Yeah.
Just take as many fights as you can and train hard. And, you have to realize being a professional fighter, I don't know if it looks glamorous. But that's not, if you think that's the way that's going to keep you motivated, it ain't going to work. The sport of professional fighting, especially if you're doing it full time like myself, you have to realize that it's cool if you're doing it for fun. Like if you go train 2 hours a day or you do a session after work, that's fun, right? Then there's going to be the days you don't want to train, you don't go to training because I'm tired, I had a tough day. As a professional fighter, there's no days like that.
Yeah.
It's just like imagine you phone your boss and say, listen, I'm coming in, I don't feel like it today. I mean, that's the problem of being a professional fighter. You can do that if you want because you're your own boss.
Yeah.
The problem comes in as, it gets easier to do that every single day. So make sure this is something you really love and there's no ulterior motives to why you want to be a fighter. If you want to be a fighter, you have to want to be a fighter because it's the thing you love most in the whole world. Because there will be sacrifices and a whole lot of them.
Powerful.
That's awesome.
Powerful. Thank you, sir. Thank you for taking
guys.
out your time. I know you've probably got 5 sessions planned for tomorrow. so we appreciate your time and the long drive from PTA to join us. Congratulations again. Big moment for everybody. I know this was a lot of hype, a lot of excitement, a lot of pressure, I'm sure. And we're glad to get another W for the green and gold boys.
Yes,
Try fight closer to our time next time. It was quite tough work.
Yeah.
Well, listen,
wake up.
timeline-wise, I was fighting perfectly in our time.
I know you had to sacrifice a lot to wake up that early, but for me it was also
And
hard.
then you were like, listen, I didn't even get the glory afterwards, man.
I went straight back to sleep. I was like, oh, thank goodness. Now I'm going back to bed.
I just hit it up in bed on the iPad and I was like, this is cool. And then it's like, as you fight in, like you've got that like surge of adrenaline. I'm like, fuck yes. I'm like, I'm going to watch the rest of the fights. No problem. 3 minutes into the next round.
Well, I was like, no, I'm going to watch it on my phone in my bed. I was like, I can't watch
That's a mistake.
like another South African fighting in the UFC just on my phone. So I got out.
Yeah,
Like-
you can't do that.
Yeah, watched it properly and then, you won.
I would have taken offense.
Sweet.
Guys, thank you for having me. It's fun as always.
Yeah, thank you
Awesome.
so much, bro.
Fantastic. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you soon. Peace.
Cheers.